Well, hello, good people of the internet. Today I would like to do a book review. A book review of The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, which I think is a pretty brilliant book, but some of the content of the book is a bit underrated. And by that I mean the book is really glorified by the media right now with the movie coming out, but there's just so many deeper pearls of wisdom, if you will, within this novel that the movie kind of brushed over and that hasn't really been shared or talked about too much. So I thought I would just begin by mentioning a few things that actually weren't in the movie, such as Hazel's friend Caitlin, who she meets at the mall and on a few other occasions, and I don't know, Caitlin just seems so incredibly vapid compared to Hazel because she's not going through the same level of pain that Hazel has to deal with. And that makes her kind of, a regular teenager who wants to go shopping at the mall, wants to date boys, and hasn't really grasped the whole issue of the human condition, human suffering, and, probably never will. She's really nicely juxtapositioned to Hazel. Not someone that Hazel resents, but someone who's just so different from Hazel that it really makes her stand out and makes Caitlin stand out. The other thing that they didn't put in the movie, which I thought was kind of interesting, was Gus's ex-girlfriend, Caroline Mathers. Yeah, Mathers. You want to call her Matthews, but it's Mathers. And she's a really very tragic character within the book that, again, people kind of have neglected greatly, and what I think is a very key part of the plot. So, if you want to read about her within the book, Fault in Our Stars, it's on page 172, if you would like to refresh your memory of her. And she was a girl who was dying of a tumor, a brain tumor, and she was pretty awful about life. She was pretty negative, and I really wish that they had included this bit of backstory in the movie because it gave the relationship between Gus and Hazel more depth. Because, it's interesting that Gus is willing to try again with, someone who's really dying from cancer. And, willing to risk that, being heartbroken. The other thing I wish they included in the movie, I guess they don't have time, so you can't really blame them, they did a good job, but, was when she goes back to Gus's house and goes to his bedroom, and it says, I crawled into his unmade bed, wrapping myself in a comforter like a cocoon, surrounding myself with his smell, and then just the last sentence in that chapter is, I'm skipping over a lot here because I don't know, copyright or something, I don't know. I never quite caught his scent again, which I think is really honest writing, really brilliant writing, and really capturing the human condition because, scent, and it's one of our senses. It's one of the things that trigger our memory the most. It's something, it's a little thing, but it's something that we all experience. So, everyone kind of knows that everyone else has their own scent, and if you love someone, you're close to them, and you hug them, and you have that scent, and that scent means something to you. And the fact that, she's lost Gus, but she's lost his presence, she's lost his scent, she's lost his voice, little things like that, which you're never going to get back, and it's just really, really quite sad, but also very, very true. The other thing I really wish that they included was Hazel kind of has a follow-up conversation with Van Houten that they didn't really get to in the movie, which they kind of condensed it all into one conversation, which I think was a pity because it really gives Van Houten, again, more depth. And we really get more of his story, we really get more of the reason why he acted to Hazel and Gus the way he did. And, you know, we get to hear more about his daughter and more about why he reacted the way he is. And we see that, you know, death within life not only affects the people who are directly dying, but affect the people who are, you know, slowly dying and have to suffer longer almost and deal with the effects that death leaves behind. Which is, you know, it's just pretty sad book. I guess I just feel like the movie really Hollywoodized it, like, oh, you know, and it happens, and I know John Green did help with the making of the movie, and don't get me wrong, it's a brilliant movie, but unfortunately with movies you don't get the characters' internal dialogue as much. You don't have time for all the backstory, you don't have time for kind of like the daily life sort of thing that books have the pleasure of being able to express. And this book is really a literary masterpiece. It's not just some sort of piece of teen fiction that, you know, that every girl is reading, or, you know, everyone's reading, not to be sexist, but I think it's something that really should be looked at a little more deeply, because John Green's really has captured the human condition. He's really captured the human struggle with death and life that we all have to go through. And not only the people, like I said, who are really dying and death is more of an immediate factor, he also deals with the suffering of the people who are also, you know, truly, everyone's dying, right? So he also deals with how they deal with watching the people they love suffer. So, anyways, all in all, wonderful book. Would recommend. I hope in the future this becomes a classic and it's read in high school classrooms and it's analyzed and understood to a fuller capacity. So, oh no, but honestly, I was in the movie theater watching it, and the girl behind me says, "Ah, maybe I should have read the book before I came to see the movie." And I'm like, yeah, you probably should have, because you're missing out. I hope she does read it. Whoever you are, girl in the movie theater who is sitting behind me who hasn't read the book, read it, because the movie didn't capture everything in it. Anyways, good job, John Green. I really admire your writing, and it takes a lot of discipline, I know, because I try to write something like this. Haven't been successful yet. Maybe I will be eventually. Anyways, good job. Recommend it. Brilliant book. 5 thumbs up if I was a mutant and had more than 2 thumbs. Alright, thank you for watching. Goodbye.